With me, Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, and a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to have a fight next week, aren't we?
Looks like it.
And, you know, it's sort of interesting. All these Democrats have said they're going to vote no for the Supreme Court for Judge Gorsuch, but in 2006, when he was put on the federal court for the 10th Circuit, a lot of these Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, voted yes. So what happened between then and now? Well,
he's had 10.5 years of being a judge, and from what I can tell, he's been a good judge. The American Bar Association, which is a pretty independent organization, gave him the highest rating you could receive, well qualified. They had a 900-page report. You can go read it if you'd like. They interviewed 500 lawyers, clerks, people who know Judge Gorsuch to say that he was one of the most outstanding judges in the country. He is reasonable, he is mainstream, he's conservative, and he's, I think, a home run pick by President Trump.
The Supreme Court says that you're supposed to provide to the president advice and consent.
Right.
What does that mean?
I think it used to mean that Scalia got 98 votes.
That's sort of interesting because
and
Judge
Ginsburg
Gorsuch is probably farther to the left of
well, I
Scalia
think he's certainly no more conservative than Scalia.
And Ginsburg, how much is Ginsburg on the far left? 96. Okay.
So Strom Thurmond voted for Ginsburg. I voted for Sotomayor and Kagan. Now why? Because I thought they were qualified. Now I didn't vote for President Obama. I didn't vote for President Trump. I hadn't voted for anybody in 12 years. But when it comes to the election, once it's over, I think my advice and consent should be given, not because I would have chosen somebody different, because they're qualified. When you look at the Hamilton papers about this, he says the role of the Senate is to knock out the unqualified. Favoritism, somebody would favor one state over another, a special relationship to the president, some family member, not to substitute your judgment for that of the president, and not to substitute your philosophy for that of the nominee.
All right, you know,
that's my view.
It's with some sort of amusement, I guess, is that Senator Harry Reid he invoked the nuclear option for appeals court judges and for trial court judges, and allowing for just 51 votes instead of the 60 to cut it off. And now it looks like, is that going to happen with the Supreme Court?
It looks like we're headed that way. So I was in the Gang of 14 back in 2003 or 4, I can't remember when it was. The first Bush term, they wholesale filibustered almost all of his judicial nominees. We came up with a Gang of 14 that said when it came to the Supreme Court and judicial nominees, there'd be no filibuster unless there were extraordinary circumstances. That held until 2013 when Harry Reid changed the rules for circuit court and below, and now here we are. All I'm saying is Sotomayor and Kagan.
The shoes under the foot.
Well, Sotomayor and Kagan got cloture. I can't, for the life of me, believe that Gorsuch is less qualified than they are.
You said you didn't vote for Obama or Trump. Who did you vote for?
I voted for Evan McMullin. I wouldn't know him if he walked in the room.
All right, well, let's move on to something else, Senator Graham. You presided over a hearing today on Russian efforts to undermine democracies. A Putin critic testified about having survived 2 attempted poisonings, apparently at the hands of the Kremlin.
Doctors estimated the chance to survive at about 5%. And both times, the reason for this poisoning was named as undefined toxin.
Why did you have this hearing?
Well, I wanted to make a case that Russia should be punished for what they did in our election, as well as what they're doing in their own country, the Putin regime, not the Russian people. This man is an anti-corruption dissident inside of Russia. He's been poisoned near death twice. There's a list of about a dozen people who've died mysterious deaths who oppose Putin. The judiciary has become a joke. The Duma's a rubber stamp. And Putin is trying to break the back of democracies throughout the entire region, and now France and Germany. And he interfered in our elections. To my Republican colleagues, it was Democrats today, it could be us tomorrow. So I want to punish Putin. I want sanctions against the Putin regime for what he did here in our election and what he's done all over the world, including his own backyard.
All right, in your former life, you were on the other side of the hill in the House. What do you make of this whole Nunes controversy?
It's a mess. You know, Trey Gowdy's a guy, he had a good suggestion to shift. Give us the witnesses you want to interview and let's interview them. I don't like what Nunes did, going down to the White House, seeing something nobody else saw. I think that's a breach of trust, and he's got to repair the damage. I don't know if he can or not. Byrne and Warner today were very reassuring to me. I'm working with White House and Leahy. We just had a heering about Russia. We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Why do you think Nunes did that?
I really don't know. I don't know if he couldn't the pressure, maybe he thought he should go down. And
but why isn't he talking now and explaining? Because the reason you and I are talking about this is because he won't end it.
All I can say is that the best thing for the House to do is see if they can get an agreement with their Democratic colleagues to call witnesses that Democrats believe are relevant to finding out what happened with Russia.
He canceled the hearing, though, with the Clapper, Yates, and Brennan.
Well, a public hearing should have been canceled, but behind closed doors is probably the way to do this. The bottom line is restart the process.
You think he can restart this? Do you think Chairman Nunes can regain credibility?
I don't know. What he should do, in my view, is tell everybody who he met with and what he saw. He doesn't have to tell you on TV, but tell his colleagues on the House Intel Committee, Republican, Democrat, here's who I met with and here's what I saw. I think he should do that.
Why wouldn't he do that?
I don't know.
Don't you think that's odd?
That is odd. So Trey Gowdy, I think, has got the right approach to try to restart if you can. Give us some witnesses you think are relevant to what happened with Russia, the Trump campaign, and let's start interviewing them. I don't know if they can repair the damage or not. I'm pleased with where the Senate's at. I want to find out what happened with Russia. If there are ties between the Trump campaign and Russia, the FBI is looking at that. Do it without political interference. The Russians interfered in our election. It wasn't some 400-pound guy on the bed. When it comes to Trump, he is the president. He won the election. I want the investigation to go wherever it needs to go. The reason I'm supporting Gorsuch, I think he's an outstanding choice, and all I'm asking Democrats to do is respect President Trump's choice like I respected President Obama's choice by voting for cloture and passage of Sotomayor and Kagan. So I don't want to set the election aside. There's no reason to invalidate this election, but there is a reason to investigate what Russia did.
And we have all these investigations going on, including Comey's with the FBI.
Well, that's what I want to make sure we don't cross over into. The FBI is looking at a counterintelligence, maybe criminal investigation. I want to steer clear of those guys. I don't want any politician to interfere with the FBI's ability to look at what Trump operatives may have done with Russia. I don't know if there's any evidence at all, but I want the FBI to look at it.
Did you see that story where it said that General Flynn met with the Turkish representatives and there was some conversation, Woolsey was there,
about kidnapping the
guy in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania?
I don't think you could sell this as a book or a movie.
Nobody believe it?
It is pretty bizarre. So when you get really confused, go back to the basics. Burr and Warner have a process of where they're going to call witnesses, most of them behind closed doors, which it probably should be. And I hope the House can get back into the process of actually collecting evidence rather than finger pointing. Now, listen, what Nunes did was wrong, but Schiff and some of his friends turn into prosecutors. Every time they're on TV, they give a damning indictment of circumstantial evidence linking the Trump campaign to Russia. At the end of the day, I don't think that's appropriate either.
Senator, nice to see you. I hope you come back. There's a lot to talk about.
Next week, we're going to talk about Gorsuch.
Next week. Okay, I'll see you next week. Anyway, nice to see you.
Okay.